Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scary Bad Reviews, and this is my intro. So, it's day 2 of October, day 2 of 2018's Monster Madness, my 31 Days of Halloween special. The next movie that I wanted to cover, after I covered, of course, the shitstorm that was the 1998 reboot of Godzilla, I wanted to maybe put a positive spin on the franchise and go with the 2014 reboot of Godzilla. This version of Godzilla is very, very different than almost any of the other ones that you see. A lot of times, there's a big focus on Godzilla, him or her itself, however you want to put it. And, the majority of the story is either the people have to find and defeat Godzilla, or Godzilla has to defeat something else. Well, in this one, there's a little bit more to play with. There's a very heavy civilian human plot throughout the movie. There's a lot of chemistry built in between the characters. There's a lot of character development throughout the movie, and there's a lot of moving pieces. Godzilla, for the most part in this movie, doesn't take the forefront until the very back end of the movie, where he just comes and absolutely destroys everything. I love this movie. I actually enjoy it a lot. I think that it does a good job in introducing the entire realm of Godzilla. I think it does a good job at hinting towards there's a lot of other things out there that are similar to Godzilla. I love the new Godzilla. Some people on the internet joke with him as Thickzilla because it's a massive version of Godzilla. I mean, incredibly tall, incredibly wide, just super packed in. I love his look. I love the way that he sounds. I love his new blue fire that just erupts out of him. And in this movie, I actually think that I liked the little villain monsters. I believe that they called them Mutos. And they're pretty good too. They have a really cool design. They look somewhat original. And I think that they do a good job in being a villain to Godzilla. I think that they prove to be enough of a challenge, not too heavily of a challenge. Godzilla still needs to prevail in the end, of course, because he's the hero of the movie. But I think that they were a pretty cool villainous monster to kind of look into. And on top of that, I love that this movie hints towards, Mothra and Rodan and Ghidorah and all the other Toho monsters that have been involved with Godzilla in the past. And now we see that that's actually going to happen with the success of this movie and the success of King Kong Skull Island. We now see that they've officially set up a full universe. We're going to get Godzilla King of Monsters in the spring, and then we're going to get the Godzilla King Kong matchup that we've been asking for a very long time. And both of these movies have done very well, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to be reviewing King Kong Skull Island tomorrow. But both of these movies have done very well, both monetarily and critically, and enough to push this back into the playing field, Like I said yesterday, that 98 version of Godzilla was so bad that the planned sequels and other monsters that Toho had wasn't going to happen because of how bad this movie was. And with this version of Godzilla, it was good enough for them to be able to move forward with the plans that they had in place for a very long time. There's some great performances in this. A good centric performance from Aaron Taylor Johnson. Ken Watanabe plays the scientist. Elizabeth Olsen is the wife of Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's a great appearance of Bryan Cranston being in the movie, although one of the main complaints of the movie is that he was very heavily advertised to be in the movie. He was the big name, and he does not play a major character. In fact, he's only involved in a very small amount of the movie. A lot of people were disappointed that you would bring in a star like that and not have him be detrimental to the plot and have his character be the most important. And I understand that upset, that emotion, because I kind of wanted him to be too. I wanted his character to play more of a part. I wanted his character to have some form of interaction with Godzilla. I wanted his character to be around for the long haul because he's an exceptional actor and he brought a name to this franchise that would stick. So that is a disappointment in it. Another disappointment is that it does take a while for Godzilla to really come around. Like, it takes a good bit of the movie until he finally comes around to defeat the Mutos. It's a great fight between them. They go back and forth for a while, kind of duke it out. But I wanted more of Godzilla. Like, I wanted him to be present in the movie longer. But his appearance in it is awesome. I mean, the fight is great. His design is great. The Muto's design is great. The hinting towards everything is awesome. I'm very excited to see where they take this franchise. I think that there's a lot of promise. Like, this movie, the budget was $160 million. It made $530 million in the box office. I mean, it succeeded both monetarily and its critical acclaim. Let's see here. Looking up its current rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me see if I can find it. It has a 75% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Average score 6.6 out of 10. So a lot of other people enjoyed this movie just as much as I did. They do a lot of things right. They do... I don't personally like them giving the humans the forefront of a movie that's supposed to be Godzilla. That's a knock for me personally, but they do a lot of other things right. They establish emotional connections. They establish an actual storyline. They establish a good villain. They establish a new Godzilla that's different from the others. And so I think that they do a lot of things right. Personally, I gave this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the monsters in it. I enjoyed everything there was to see on the surface level. I think the only reason that I didn't give this movie a higher rating was just because of personal disappointments in just wanting to see, more monsters, more fighting, less humans. But that's because, of course, we all expect to just see two giant things duking it out when we hear Godzilla or King Kong, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah. We just want to see two massive titans just wrestling for an hour and a half. But this wasn't the case, and I think that it was actually done quite tastefully. I think that it was done the way that it needed to be. After the past failures, I think it needed to be a little bit higher class. It needed to be a little bit more sophisticated. They needed to do something right, and they did, big time. They did this right, and they finally got their plans in motion, and I'm super excited about where this franchise is going to go. So yeah, solid 7, even 7.5 out of 10. So with that review out of the way, we're now 2 days into October. Tomorrow being October 3rd is my third movie. I'm going to be doing King Kong Skull Island, which came out back in 2017, just last year. Going to keep up, Monster Madness 2018. We've got some good ones coming into play soon. So come back tomorrow. Thanks.